what is up? It's me, Kat, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're talking about the whole being dead thing. Too soon. We're going to talk about and explain why Beetlejuice the Musical is suddenly closing on Broadway. Spoiler alert, it's a little more complicated than you might think. Broadway shows close all the time, you know, it's just part of their life cycle. In fact, this past summer, we saw a record-breaking 14 closure announcements. Broadway also lost over $100 million, so if you don't know about the whole Broadway losing $100 million and why all those shows closed, I did a whole other video on that, and that is a wild ride, so I'll link that down below if you haven't seen it. So when Beetlejuice the Musical announced that they were closing last week, I was saddened to hear that, but I also wasn't terribly surprised. It's a really, really difficult feat to sustain a show on Broadway, especially right now. But here's the weird thing. Beetlejuice the Musical was doing well, so why on earth is it now closing? We're gonna explain all of that in today's video. Also, if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Katherine Steele. Welcome. I'm just a short girl yelling about Broadway on the internet. Hit subscribe to join the Broadway musical theater internet cult. You heard what I said. Question of the day, what are your thoughts on the whole Beetlejuice situation? Do you know what's going on? Do you not really understand it? Are you just sad and confused that Alex Brightman is leaving Broadway? Because I get it. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, sorry if you guys hear weird noises or loud banging. We're currently in the process of putting up our Christmas decorations for the holiday season. There's a lot of banging going on. That sounded very incorrect. So I feel like in a really complex situation like this, it's easiest to have a very brief overview of the situation. That way it's kind of easier to follow along in the details and the nuance and understanding everything. So the insanely abridged version of this entire debacle, the decision to close Beetlejuice the Musical was actually made a really long time ago, back when the show wasn't making as much money as it does now. That being said, here are some quick facts that you may or may not know that will come in handy later. For a show to perform in a Broadway theater, they need to pay rent. The show doesn't just get to perform in the theater for free, nor do they own the theater, they actually lease it. So amongst its other running costs and trying to make back that initial capitalization, they also have to lease out the theater. If you don't know what capitalization is, that's where the $100 million video comes in. Check that out for a full explanation. Another important fact is that there are a finite amount of theaters that meet the requirements to be labeled as a Broadway theater. So Beetlejuice the Musical first premiered on Broadway last spring. Recently, however, there has been a massive surge in popularity. Personally, I think you've got social media to thank. You've got the Twitter stans, you've got the Instagram fan accounts, and you've got the TikTokers. TikTokies? Can you tell I'm not on TikTok? Bottom line, Beetlejuice is now getting the widespread praise it deserves, so how can you just suddenly get rid of a show, especially now that it's becoming a hit? The Schubert organization owns a large chunk of the Broadway theaters, so think of them kind of like a landlord. They're able to boot Beetlejuice the Musical from the Wintergarden Theater because of a stop clause. If you're not familiar, because I wasn't prior to the situation, a stop clause is basically a rule in the rental agreement saying that the theater can evict a show if they make below a certain amount of money for 2 weeks in a row. Beetlejuice made below the agreed amount back in May. So why would a theater want to evict a show if they can still pay rent? Simple answer: money. That's because the theater itself takes a percentage of the box office. So whatever the show brings in, the theater gets a cut of, therefore incentivizing the theater to house shows that bring in more money. Now, stop clauses are pretty common, but they're not always used. But it would make sense to whip out that rule if you had another, more bankable show interested in doing business with you. Enter The Music Man. Next fall, a revival of Meredith Willson's The Music Man is set to hit the stage. Not only is it one of the most recognizable, most beloved American classic musicals, this production is set to star Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster, two of Broadway's most bankable stars. Tickets are already on sale for this highly anticipated revival, yet the theater that they're performing in hasn't been announced yet. But the seating chart looks eerily similar to the Wintergarden Theater. So why doesn't Beetlejuice just move? I saw a bunch of people on Twitter using the SpongeBob Alaskan bullworm, why don't we just move Beetlejuice the Musical, and it destroyed me. Joking aside, you've got three main issues facing Beetlejuice the Musical: space, money, and timing. For space, you need to find a theater that's large enough to house the technical aspects of Beetlejuice the musical. It's got a massive set and you're going to need a lot of wing space. There are a lot of theaters that just don't have the physical ability to house a show of that size. Reason number 2, it's estimated that it would take about $4 million just to move Beetlejuice to a new theater. That being said, Beetlejuice's capitalization was $20 million, a number that they haven't reached yet. That means that they're still trying to make back the money it took to make the show. And reason number 3, timing. Keep in mind that it's not about what other theaters are open, available, and can accommodate the show right now. It's about what theaters are going to be options in half a year from now, because Beetlejuice is still going to be playing at the Wintergarden for the next 6 months. Something else worth noting, as is with a lot of business deals, I think there is a lot more going on behind the scenes that we, the general public, know nothing about. There might be negotiations in the work, there might be contracts that were signed a really long time ago that we have no idea about. Just because something happened doesn't mean that it's released to the general public. All of that being said, I think there is a ray of hope here. If you guys can't tell by the general tone Beetlejuice has been taking, they're not going down without a fight. You usually don't film a fully produced video or start a hashtag Twitter campaign if you plan on quietly closing up shop. We're rooting for the show and the troops are rallying. Advance ticket sales are soaring. Beetlejuice is scrappy. They know that their fans are here and they want to keep the show going. I'm really interested to see how this is all going to develop and what's going to happen to the future of Beetlejuice, but that being said, that is the situation explained. If you guys found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out and I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're new here, hit subscribe! Join the musical theater internet cult. Yay, cult! Again, I'll link the $100 million video and the Beetlejuice the musical vlog if you haven't seen it, because it's really fun.
You smell unbelievable. Whoa.
I'll link those videos down below. I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you so much. Break a leg, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!